All right, on time this time. This is chapter 4 of Critically Sovereign by Joanne Barker, the editor. This chapter, I think we might be doing 5 too. I kind of forgot to prepare 5. Um, but I know it's super short, so I might just make another vlog or just include it in the last one since there's only a chapter left. So this chapter had to do with Alaska and the Inuit, or the Eskimo people that inhabited it, and just kind of in Greenland, Iceland, and just kind of in the all the like polar kind of island areas, not polar but colder island areas around the world. So this had to deal with a lot about masculine stereotypes at the beginning, which I thought was interesting. I know we are more of a feminine focused class. But it is interesting to think about the men every once in a while, because I feel like they're not as represented like accurately. Um and yeah, it's just interesting, you think of them as warriors, and like that's my Western stereotype, right? But like that's just kind of like how popular media has always portrayed them. Um and that's kind of it's just, yeah, it's interesting so to see a masculine approach. Um, she says representations of Eskimos as peaceful, playful, happy, noble, independent, and joyful reflect American patriarchy and white supremacy. These depictions obviously depict, they said they were quite opposite of the Plains Indians, the Plains Native Americans, um, and how they were depicted as like the enemy, as savage, as warrior class, and these guys are not like that. They're more like, I don't know, just kind of there and having a good time according to America, which is just obviously not true. But their representation was always like more of a positive than the Plains Native Americans. They talked a lot about film in this chapter, which is really interesting. I like film. I almost went to film school, so I like talking about it. Talked a lot about their representation in contemporary films. Director named McLean directed some movies. And he actually allowed Inuit and Eskimo actors, both professional and amateur performers, to be in their films. And that is another big thing I don't think a lot of people understand, especially in like the American West and like the 60s to the 80s, making these black and white kind of films about, westward expansion and like cowboys versus Indians, stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of bad things that they're portrayed as, but probably one of the worst things a Native American could be portrayed as is being played by a white man. They would just kind of paint people's face dark, reddish, but it was black and white, obviously. But they wouldn't ever really have Native American actors in these movies until a little later on, and even then, there's still like a handful. Like you can only pick out like 4 or 5 actual Native Americans that have made it to like Hollywood level. I forgot his name, but he's in a lot. He's in a lot of them. But it's just like sad that to see that they couldn't even get like their own people to participate in this. And yeah, it was just interesting. So it was cool to see using actual genuine actors and actresses. They talked a little bit about the Inuit economy and about their whaling and their structure, and they said it was interesting compared to other tribes and groups of people regarding their patriarchy slash matriarchy, and it seemed to be presented more as neutral, leaning slightly to the patriarchy, while but not like demeaning either side. But most of them we've looked at have been matriarchies. But they just kind of said that men are generally considered bulk harvesters. They go out, do the big things. The women still contribute and harvest, which is smaller things that they're more able to do. I think that that is understandable in that kind of situation, that cultures. But it was interesting to see not only a different group of people in a different region, but also competing kind of different twist and outlook on the gendered structure of their lifestyles.